a lot of people say to me, like, oh, you've got these ideas, but you're thinking about like utopia and human nature is human nature. We're just shitty and things are always going to be shitty. I don't agree. And here's a few things that we could do to make the world a better place. Some ideas I have. One, we make the entire world one global society. One global society under one global government. We do away with nation states and regions of racial interest and racially controlled groups. And we divide the world instead into longitude and latitudinally defined, so like defining quadrants by logical numbers based on things like longitude and latitude, as well as climate. And we study regions and we study how best to utilize the land in order to better the lives of everyone equally. We do away with the current monetary system in the world. We instead realize that money is simply a value of what somebody puts into society, right? So we say things like net worth. So it's this idea that if you work, you're getting points, that you can trade these points to get something in return. And you accumulate points. But right now, the currency system is obsolete and it's imbalanced. You have people who do not put in work, yet they receive exorbitant amounts of money either through inheritance or manipulation. This is the whole thing of like royalty and billionaires and oligarchs, these kind of people. As well as the fractured global market is really a tool of colonialism. The foreign exchange of currencies is really a tool of colonialism. The USD being worth more than other currencies is a form of colonialism. White currencies are worth more than the rest of the world. This is because of white imperialism. We do away with that. One global system of measuring worth. So the labor that somebody does in the USA, that someone is working the same job in like the Philippines, they're making the same amount of points. So like let's say a gas station worker in the USA versus the Philippines, they make the same amount of work or of worth. As well as, now I advocate for people being able to have mobility, communication, security, and shelter, and food and healthcare. Basic necessities in life to live and function, even in a Spartan sense. Even if you do not work, you have a basic human right to live and function within society. So this is kind of like the concept of universal basic income. Now, to make that work, the people who are structural maintainers of society, that is to say, people who actually build infrastructure, provide healthcare, provide global communication, provide things like mobility and transportation, these kind of, so think like government officials and government contracted workers, right? So like even city cleanup people, sewage maintenance people, non-privatized public workers. That's what you can think of. I think of them as structural maintainers. They're maintaining the structure of society. They're not luxury jobs. These are jobs that we, essential workers, right? These are jobs that we need. Everybody needs. And we entirely socialize these things. Socialize. I mean, we make it so that everyone has a baseline of these. So we make these jobs worth the most in society. Whoever works these jobs, they're the ones who get to live in luxury. They make the most amount of society points, money, right? Not fucking. I don't think that. So what I see politicians, government officials who, what we think of as political leader nows, these are really just glorified managers that we've somehow elevated and idolized into God status, like Donald Trump and presidents like that. These people are just glorified managers of society. So we do away with all that and we think of society as like a computer system that needs to be run more efficiently. And people are simply unorganized right now, and we need to reorganize people to run things more efficiently. So the people who, what we think of as the government now, these are just managers, right? These people are more high mid-level earners in my global society. They constantly analyze societal structures and recognize where, let's say that a region in the world needs more water in their place because there's there's a drought or something like that, or things become so inhospitable there, or resources aren't being utilized well, so they're like, okay, we need to manage things differently. So they reorganize societal structures so that people are utilized more efficiently. So this thing of people electing a popular person to do a job they have no idea how to do in a shitty way, in a very unorganized way, like, we do away with all that. Now, law enforcement, right? Law enforcement is also not uniform. It's pretty much judges all around the world do what they feel like. In America, yeah, there's so many cases of racial discrimination in the legal system, but look at the case in Italy where this judge decided that it's not sexual assault because sexual assault is 10 seconds of groping. This old man pulled down this girl's pants and grabbed her ass. And the judge was like, well, that's not 10 seconds. Absurd, right? So we do away with all that and we completely make, under global society, all consequences for actions that impede on the freedoms or autonomy of others, right? So crime, they all have the same consequences, whatever that may be. So let's say like rape or murder, right? Right now it's like, depending on who's doing the rape and who's the judge, right? Like, they'll get different consequences in different places and whatever, but we make things uniform all across the board. If you murder in the first degree, it's uniform everywhere. You get a certain amount of punishment. I believe that people who maliciously murder someone, not in self-defense and not in, let's say, like, they were tortured by that person and to escape they killed that person. I think there's, different cases or whatever, but there needs to be a set amount of time and stuff, and I believe that people who maliciously kill someone should be removed from society, whether that means permanent imprisonment or capital punishment. That can be debated, but so these things and the burden of protecting people, law enforcement really needs to be revamped, because I think especially in America people don't feel safe with law enforcement. And look, these are just big ideas I'm throwing out. I know that there's a lot of details. Like, nothing is perfect. Even if this was implemented, all of these things was implemented tomorrow, I'm sure there would be many problems, but it would be a step forward and better than the crazy, unorganized world that we have now. So, I believe the world can get better, things can get better, and humanity should be optimistic, because we can make life better for all of us. So, things to think about.